My name is Drew Harvell. I'm a professor, in a couple of places, Cornell University, and I'm also an affiliate faculty member at the University of Washington and resident at Friday Harbor Labs. We've been working for almost the last decade on the health of eelgrass in the San Juan Islands, and we started the work because we knew that a disease of eelgrass actually can increase with warming waters. And so a lot of the research in my group has been with infectious diseases that are triggered by climate warming events. After the last 7 or 8 years of monitoring, we found that in fact the levels of this disease, called eelgrass wasting disease, has increased substantially in the San Juan Islands. The increases tend to follow spring and winter warming events from the previous year. So there's also indications of temperature kind of fueling the level of outbreak that we're seeing now. In response to that, we've launched a much larger project in collaboration with quite a few West Coast partners and led by the Smithsonian Institution and funded by the National Science Foundation to study this disease from San Diego all the way to Alaska. And so the drone monitoring that we did last week is part of that study.
My name is Olivia Graham, and I am a PhD candidate at Cornell University, working with Dr. Drew Harvell. While a student, I am working on seagrass wasting disease. Specifically, I'm interested in how disease levels vary with climate change and also different levels of biodiversity. So eelgrass herbivores that may transmit the pathogen, microbial communities that live on the surface of eelgrass and may protect or defend their plant hosts, as well as host genetic diversity. As a graduate student, I spend a lot of time at Friday Harbor Laboratories, and while I'm here, I work quite a bit on field work, so I spend a lot of time out getting muddy and dirty. I'm in the water a lot, snorkeling and scuba diving for seagrass. But I also spend a lot of time in lab using molecular and microbiology approaches to answer these questions. So I'm trying to come at these from a number of different approaches and methodologies. And recently we've been in the field mapping our eelgrass meadows using drones. So with that technology, we will be able to see if our eelgrass meadows are growing, hopefully, or shrinking, or some combination thereof, over the next several years.
Eelgrass it has superpowers. Eelgrass beds do so much for us. For one thing, I think everybody in the San Juans who are concerned with our dwindling salmon populations and the impacts of that on our orcas probably knows that eelgrasses are super important habitat both for juvenile salmon and for the forage fish that they feed on. And in fact, eelgrass beds are really important as spawning sites for herring. And we want more herring so that we'll get more salmon, and so our orcas will be fine. And they also, those meadows house a variety of other invertebrates that are valuable and important to us. That's only one of the superpowers. A second one is climate change mitigation. So as plants, eelgrass actually take up carbon dioxide. And so a lot of the carbon dioxide that we're releasing into the atmosphere is absorbed by habitats in the ocean, and eelgrass is one of the important ones. And so they lock up that carbon dioxide. And the third, another one we've been studying, is eelgrasses filter pollutants such as sewage from our waters. So some of the studies that we've done show that eelgrass beds actually have the potential to make humans healthier, but definitely create healthier conditions for other biota. Certainly being respectful and caring for your eelgrass beds is absolutely preeminent. So, on low tide events, don't go stomping through the eelgrass. And maybe the biggest thing, that's actually a good question. I bet the biggest thing is to be super careful with anchoring. Do not anchor in an eelgrass bed, because then your anchor will rip out sections of that. And at least in our region, that's one of the destructive factors that affects our eelgrass beds is too much anchoring in nice eelgrass bed anchorages. And so we're going to be launching into a more proactive approach to figuring out how we can better support and sustain our local eelgrass beds against the losses that we're seeing from this disease and the warming conditions that we're experiencing.